Hey guys, welcome back to the River Valley project. We are going to be doing water holes today. How exciting. Lots of shovel work. So I'm gonna show you guys what we got cooking. So what we want to do is we have this, I think it's like a 40 gallon or 30 gallon drum. And right now I got dish soap in it and some water, just letting it kind of soak and clean out for the last week. I'm going to drain that out today and we're going to cut it in half. And what we'd like to do is take a Sawzall, cut it right down the center, and then we're going to bury that up on top of the ridge so that the deer have some water up there. So that's the goal, water holes today. See what we can do. Alright, we got 2/2 of a barrel. So the plan is to submerge and bury this all under the ground so that we don't see it and it'll hold the water for us. So next step, get out to the lease, I guess. All right, we are up on top of the hill, guys. I'm gonna kind of show you what we had set up last year. This tree right here was our home camera for our CuddyLink system. And we'll get into more of the CuddyLink camera stuff when we get later in the year when we start putting up trail cams. But this was our home tree right here, and we had it shooting this way, and a lot of the deer that we're getting pictures of were right up over here, kind of on the farthest edge of our camera range. And it's definitely a major crossing area, and we'd like to have water up here. So that being said, with our home camera, if you know anything about the CuddyLink systems, you got to have the home linked to all the remote cameras. So the best place that we could find possible to get reception all over our lease is to have that home base camera up on top of the hill. So we're gonna go ahead and amplify that a little bit with putting a water hole up here. Maybe it'll get the deer to stop and drink there. And, you know, we're looking more forward to the rut time when these deer are wore down and tired, and, you know, for them to have water access up on top of this hill, I think will be pretty huge, and I think everything's going to use it and beneficial for everything. So, like I said, we got our 2 barrels, a shovel. That's basically all we really need. I brought my ice fishing cart along just to towed everything up here. Works pretty slick for hauling on the 4-wheeler, but yeah, so let's take a walk over, and I would say probably right in this general area in here, somewhere is right in here is where they cut through. They come along on the side hill right here, and then either cut through right here or go back up to this main trail. They did not like going down the main ridge road, which makes sense. They tend to like to be, you know, on the edge of these ridge tops when they're out walking around and stuff, so they can, you know, have good see over that edge and be able to jump off it real quick if danger's coming. So I think the way the soil lays right here, this is kind of top of the ridge, and then it starts pitching down off the edge of the hill. So I think if we're going to do it anywheres, we should do it probably over in this area where we're going to get some of the slope of the land to come down, and, you know, when we get those big heavy rains, some of that runoff is going to run right into it. That's kind of the trick about this from what I can gather. So, and we got to make sure we got a good tree to put our home camera on, and I don't know why. Maybe this tree would maybe be a little better. That's going to get us another 15 yards closer, and we've got some nice overhanging licking branches here for scrape time. Maybe we could do some mock scrapes this fall too, and see if we can suck them in that way also. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. We got a nice gap, straight gap with no trees in here, and we do have stakes that we can put all these on too. So, you know, a tree is not totally a necessity, but it would be nice also. Yeah, I think that would get anything coming down this ridge, side of this ridge right here. And, you know, it's, as you can see, it's almost like not a natural deer fence, but, you know, all this brush down in here is kind of working the deer up towards the top of the hill, you know. At least that's my theory anyways. But yeah, let's get the shovel out and see what kind of ground. I don't know if we're gonna have rocks or it's gonna be nice soil. We gotta dig about probably 2 feet down. The farther the better. And then I'm gonna bank the dirt up around the sides of the water tank. You know, if it does silt in or fill in, we can scoop that out of there pretty easily, and yeah, we'll go from there. Alright, we got our little water coffin here, and show you guys how this is going to work. I got to dig down just a little bit yet, but that's real close. I just got to get this front end down a little bit, but you can see there's 2 drains on this in half, so I'm hoping that we can have that water flow down the hill and then into here. We're gonna have stuff that we can bring water up here too also if they do dry up, but this should hold a good 20 some gallons of water, so. All right, water hole number 1 done. You guys can kind of, hopefully you can see this good, but so this is all kind of pitched. All the water should run down here on our big rains. And then I just kind of bermed it around the sides a little bit. And yeah, hopefully it'll just kind of seep in there after a while. But at least be something that they can drink out of, and it'll be definitely interesting to see how much activity we get on this camera if there's a water hole compared to last year when there was nothing at all, just untouched up here. So once again, we're kind of manipulating the land for the deer, so we're gonna go off to spot number 2. So I guess where the scrapes were, ooh, a cool mushroom. I think that's edible, but I'm not positive. I'll have to do some ID on that one, but yeah, cool. Yeah, you know, we had to stand this way and all the big scrapes were right. I mean, you can kind of see them right in here. That's where one was. There was one there. So they were coming up out of this back valley, and there was some bedding on this back side. You can see there's some rubs there. So these deer were definitely in this area checking. There was some does bedded up here, and just a spot that we never actually got to hunt yet. But I mean, I only bow hunted like 5 times out here last year, and I'd killed my buck on the first, basically the first day off of my week off, so I didn't really get to sit out here a ton. But I think a water hole would be super cool right back here, right by all these scrapes. And it's almost like a natural little hole right here, it almost looks like to me. I think that would be a great spot. I mean, we're only 25 yards from that stand also. And if they're going to be in here scraping, I would think they'd grab a drink too. Might give you just that extra second that you need to pull off a shot. So that is the goal, right? Draw the deer in so we can shoot them without using bait like corn or mineral or anything like that. So let's get cracking on this one. All right, hole number 2 is done. It didn't take too long. It's a little more rocky over here, but and we got our stand right up here. Water hole here, scrapes, licking branches. What else do they want? A straw bed? We could probably do that. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So we are going to get this thing packed up and get moving on with the next project. All right, we're headed back to the wheeler. Another thing I want to tell you guys about was Onyx. Just about wiped her again. Onyx Maps. Especially for a lease like this where we have, you know, my buddy Brandon that leases it with me. He lives probably an hour and a half away from here and an hour from me. So one of the things, if I'm out here working, because I live pretty close and change things around, Onyx Maps has sharing on it. So what that means is I can take a pin, drop it, name it whatever I want with an icon and color, and then send it to him, and then it will automatically load up into his Onyx Maps. So say I hang a stand or do water holes like today by myself, all I gotta do is mark it down, send it to him, and he has no questions about where they're at, and he can come check it out whenever he wants. So just another tool that we use out here on the lease quite a bit. We use it for stands, cameras, you name it, mushroom spots, you know, access areas where we want to get into a stand, have, you know, trails and maps and everything on it. So it's pretty cool to see all that. And we also have some blown up aerial maps of the property, which I keep right in my living room, and I'm sure he keeps his in his shop or his basement. And we got little tags that we put on them so we can mark where our stands are at. And, you know, if we wanted to really get into it, you know, we could put pictures of, you know, where these deer are showing up on our cameras, you know, just to kind of get a pattern on how the deer are moving or what bucks are where. It's kind of neat to do that and see, you know, day to day with those cutty link cameras, you know, what the weather does to the deer and all that stuff. It's pretty cool to see day by day. So like I said, if you don't have Onyx, they don't sponsor me, don't worry. I use it for everything that I do. I used to run handheld GPS, and I mean, that technology is way outdated now. Onyx, you can download the maps ahead of time. I use them when I go out west in the mountains, and I hardly ever I bring my GPS for a backup, but I think last year in Colorado, I never used it once. All I use is my phone. You can turn it on to airplane mode, and it'll still track you, and you can still look at the area you have downloaded. So really cool app that we like to use, and I think you'd like it too if you use it. So maybe go check that out. So this is another project that we're going to do, but it's going to be a little later in the summer. This whole area in here, we are going to do radishes and turnips, maybe even into this area. We got to cut this tree out, get this sprayed off and killed about midsummer, and then we're gonna do radishes and turnips in here so that we can hold deer over the winter. And I guess we'll find some horns then too. We shed hunted this property this winter and never found a single horn on it, so that tells me that no deer are holding here. So that's one of the big issues that we want to address, is getting deer to winter over here. And they have the creek right here. It's a spring fed creek, so they always have water, and if they have anything to eat here in the winter, they're gonna bed even on this side hill here, even though it's not south side. They'll either climb to the top of the ridge and bed, but they need something that they can eat in here. And you can see this is all just grass. And thorns and everything else. So obviously that's our goal, is to improve the deer habitat on this property, and with the littlest amount of impact we can have on the land. We don't want to be spraying a ton of chemicals and a bunch of crap. So that's kind of our goal. So that will be coming up in probably the middle of summer, when it's probably about 110 degrees, I'm sure. So stay tuned also for that, guys. We are just about ready to get out of here. I'm gonna go just take some soil temperatures to see how long we're gonna have for morels. I know people have been finding a couple little grays here and there, so I'm pretty stoked for that. So yeah, just a quick little video on digging a water hole. I tried to make it as exciting as I could, but at the end of the day, it's just digging a water hole basically. But even though there might be some kind of boring videos on here, I just want to take you guys through all the steps and all the processes we're going through to, you know, manage a property and manage a lease, which is pretty foreign to me because I've hunted public land for probably almost 20 years exclusively. And man, it is a night and day difference, I'll tell you that. That's for sure. You got no pressure from other people. I mean, you can hang stands, you can do food plots, you can do all these things that you can't do on public land. So it's, for me, it's very interesting to see what all these improvements are going to do and if they're worthwhile. And if they're not worthwhile, we're not going to continue to do them. But I don't see why food plots and watering holes and wintering food plots, you know, I just don't see how that's not gonna benefit the land out here. So yeah, stay tuned and we are going to catch you guys on the next episode of the River Valley Project. I appreciate you guys watching, and if you like these videos, please go down and subscribe and like them and drop a comment if there's something you would like to see, or some things, you know, that maybe we don't know about that you have suggestions for. I'm always open for suggestions, so you can leave those in the comments below. And like I said, go down and hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. I think it's going to be a cool year out here on the lease. You know, hopefully gonna get a kid his first deer ever, and who knows, maybe we'll knock down a big old buck or two. So catch you guys on the flip side.